Ukrainian President Zelensky is in
Kate
South Africa.
Bartlett.
Yes, thank you very much. First for President Zelensky, do you have any
Just
comment?
an intro, Kate. Please introduce yourself.
I'm sorry. Kate Bartlett from NPR, National Public Radio in the US. For President Zelensky, do you have any comments on Trump's final offer? And for President Ramaphosa, do you agree with the US position that Ukraine may have to cede some territory to Russia to achieve a peace? Thanks very much.
Thank you. Peter?
Wait.
Actually, my question, I suppose, to some degree overlaps with the last one. I wanted to ask Peter Fabricius from the Daily Maverick, President Zelensky, that having rejected the Trump administration's peace plan on the issues of Crimea and NATO, etc., what is next? What are you prepared to concede, if anything, in order to advance the peace process? And may I ask President Ramaphosa, did President Trump, in his call to you, why did he call you today? Did he call you to ask you to put pressure on President Zelensky to agree to his peace plan? Or, the two events are presumably not coincidental. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Nelly and Kanita, those will be the last two questions. If you can just please keep your questions brief.
Thank you.
Thank
Nellie
you.
Payton from Reuters. For President Zelensky, the U.S. has threatened to abandon its peace effort if there's no progress. Does Ukraine have a plan B if that happens? And for President Ramaphosa, was there any discussion in your call with President Trump about the chance of the U.S. pulling out of this process? Thanks.
Thank you. Kanita?
Thank you very much, Kanita Hunter from Newsroom Africa. To President Zelensky, the war in Ukraine has obviously surpassed 1,100 days, and South Africa has obviously had experience with negotiated settlements to end apartheid. Can you perhaps explain to us what are you willing to compromise on in these peace talks that you say you're willing to participate in, and what you are not willing to compromise on? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. That's the last round of questions. We'll start with President Zelensky.
Okay. Дякую.
Thank you. Quite a lot of questions, actually. Let's try from the beginning. Okay. President Trump and his team in Saudi Arabia suggested an unconditional ceasefire. Ukraine did concede it without any other conditions. Russia didn't do that. Then we had some rumors in the media about certain signals, like before the Easter time, about Russia's alleged readiness for something, even without any specific relations with Russia. Even during these wartime conditions, we signaled that we are ready for it. If Russia doesn't strike, we won't respond. Then President Trump was to offer this mineral agreement, as we call it. Everything that was outside of the field of the constitution of Ukraine, we got rid of it. And then we went for a memorandum that was in agreement with our legislation, and we did sign it. President Trump and the United States said that if one of the parties disagrees to a full ceasefire, and if other additional steps are not taken towards, then there will be time for some strong moves, sanctions included. This is what we understand, and this is what we perceive. We've accepted everything suggested by our partners, just excluding pieces that go against our constitution. Because the fight for our independence, for our sovereignty, for our territorial integrity, it's about actually our survival. And we are completely straight and transparent on that. I do not see any specific particular pressure on Russia. I don't hear of any new dedicated sanction packages against the Russian Federation. Maybe it's for the time being. We still hope. we, without, any catches, without anything, we simply and straightly say that we can still move our parties, our countries closer to the idea of comprehensive and full ceasefire as step one, and we are ready to go on that. And your question on potential compromise, I think it were us who were attacked. We were grabbed some territory. We had thousands our people killed. We had lots of children and adults buried alive. And if Ukraine is still ready to sit at the table of negotiations after the ceasefire agreement with the terrorists who had committed everything on our land, I already see it as a huge compromise. The second thing is we do not want this war to continue. Because of that, we mean ceasefire as the step number one here. All of the initiatives are important, all of them. There can be multiple initiatives, but still, every leader suggesting certain peace initiative always starts with a very clear point: full ceasefire. Everything is clear, everyone seems to agree on that, besides and but for the Russian Federation. Then we have some red lines, like one of the red lines is never forget about the kids. Never forget about our nationals, kids primarily. Secondly, exchange, as we call all for all. POWs, civilians.
For more content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at V Pride Multimedia Studio. Like, ring the bell and share.